Gilgo Beach serial killer has just been sentenced to multiple life sentences. So we got a few videos to look at, and then of course we'll go over into the AI breakdown just to find out more about this whole situation or just wrap it all up. So let's jump into it.
More breaking news here in New York, where the notorious Gilgo Beach serial killer case has finally come to a close. Just over an hour ago, Rex Heuermann, who was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder of 8 different women. The former architect and married father of 2, seen here in court today, admitted earlier this year to soliciting sex and strangling his victims before dumping their bodies across Long Island's South Shore between 1993 and 2010, so a 17-year period there. Today, we heard emotional impact statements from the families whose lives were torn apart by Heuermann's crimes. The sister of one victim telling him, "You don't have the humanity to feel any remorse." Now, take a listen to the judge's fiery response after Heuermann addressed the court.
There are no words I can say. I am responsible for what was said in this room today. The words I would say have no meaning, and I'm going to leave it there.
You've been described as a very big man, but you're a disgusting and despicable small man, if you're a man at all. And you're a coward.
The judge even shouted there. NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris joining us now to break this down. Misty, look, the family members who spoke in court said they are still suffering from immeasurable pain and loss. This was their opportunity, right? Victim impact statements to address someone who has tormented their lives. What do you make of no emotion or reaction, apparently, from Heuermann?
So this is really...
Now, let me, before we get into this, let me first thing I want to understand is I wonder why they didn't go for the death penalty. Or some people feel like that the death penalty is wrong, but I believe that some people deserve to be put down, because they don't deserve to be living among us. They just do such despicable things that it makes sense that the system puts them down. It'd be better than them living in prison for the rest of their lives. But let me know your thoughts. Let's keep going into this.
Been him the entire time that the case has gone on. He has shown no emotion. I've talked to Sheriff Errol Toulon, who's overseen his detention the entire time he has been there, up until today when he'll be transferred. Even behind bars, no emotion. Arraignment, no emotion. And you're talking about somebody who had never spent a day in jail and has shown no emotion, no remorse, and has just been stoic at every single part of this process.
Was it unusual to see a judge even shouting coward like that?
Yeah, I mean, that is unusual and obviously a very strong reaction. But if you look at how this case has played out, remember, Rex Heuermann had been maintaining his innocence throughout the whole course as this case was making its way to trial. Ultimately, it had a lot of really bad evidentiary decisions that weren't going in the way of the defense. But then he pleads guilty. And I really think that that's one of the reasons that you saw Judge Mazzy having that strong reaction.
This went on for over a decade and a half. How many documentaries have been made about it? How many questions asked? It just stumped investigators. What do we make of how finally all of the loose ends came to get tied together? Is this just sort of modern day policing? How did it come to pass?
So there's been so much to this case, and it has a very complicated history. And when the task force was formed to solve the Gilgo Beach killings, and this was in 2022, and then Rex Heuermann was arrested not that far later, 2023, and now finally there is actual finality for the families. And that task force coming together and utilizing multi-jurisdictional resources, including the FBI, ultimately identified Rex Heuermann and brought us here today. We actually, Ellison Barber, NBC, we have a show, Allegedly. I appeared with her. We really broke down this case soup to nuts. There's so much to it. And for me, seeing finality for these families, thank goodness that they get some peace after this terrible, these circumstances out of their control.
It took 17 years, but finally some resolution. Misty Maris, thank you so much.
17 years. That's how long it took. But do you think him spending the rest of his life in prison, is that the ultimate closure for the family? Let's get over into one more video and see what else we can learn.
Is there anything you wish to say before I pronounce sentence? Mr. Heuermann, is there anything you wish to say before I pronounce sentence?
Yes. There are no
Stand up.
There are no words I can say. I am responsible for what was said in this room today. The words I would say have no meaning, and I'm going to leave it there at this time.
Speak up.
Mr. Human, as Mr. Tierney said, I know that you're sorry that you got caught. I assume that you're sorry for what you've done to your wife and children. Are you a little bit sorry for what you did to these poor innocent women? 8 women that you strangled to death, at least 8 that we know of. Are you at least a little bit sorry for that? Yes?
Yes, I am.
Now remember, y'all, they said that he showed hardly any emotions throughout the investigation. When he was finally caught and just leading up to this moment, he barely shows any emotion. Do you think he's truly sorry?
You know what? You've been described as a very big man, but you're a disgusting and despicable small man, if you're a man at all. And you're a coward. As a result of your plea of guilty to murder in the first degree under count 1 of indictment 73544 of 2024, it's essentially court that you serve the rest of your life without the possibility of parole. With respect to count 2, murder in the first degree, it's essentially court that you serve the rest of your life without the possibility of parole. With respect to count 3, plead guilty to murder in the first degree, it's essentially the court that you serve the rest of your life without the possibility of parole. Those 3 sentences to run consecutive with each other. With respect to count 7, murder in the second degree, it's essentially the court that you serve an indeterminate term of imprisonment with a minimum of 25 years and a maximum of your life. With respect to count 8, murder in the second degree, it's essentially the court that you serve an indeterminate term of imprisonment with a minimum of 25 years and a maximum of your life. With respect to count 9, murder in the second degree, it's essentially the court that you serve an indeterminate term of imprisonment with a minimum of 25 years and a maximum of your life. And finally, with respect to count 10, murder in the second degree, it's essentially the court that you serve an indeterminate term of imprisonment with a minimum of 25 years and a maximum of your life. All of those sentences to run consecutive with each other. Mr. Tierney, with respect to counts 4, 5, and 6,
You move to dismiss, Your Honor, in satisfaction of that sentence.
that application granted. Other agencies to collect. Anything else, gentlemen?
Nothing from the people, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Brown?
Nothing further.
All right, get him out of here.
He didn't show any emotion. Now let's get over into a little background of this whole case. Let's get over into that AI breakdown. But it seems like to me just that I'm assuming the plea deal, I feel like we went over this before, but the plea deal basically took the death penalty off the table. So as we know, Rex, 62-year-old former Manhattan architect, has been unmasked as the Gilgo Beach serial killer and was sentenced today to multiple consecutive life prison terms without the possibility of parole. The formal sentencing took place in Riverhead, New York courtroom. So we know that we heard all those 3 consecutive life sentences, 4 terms of 25 to life, and then he admitted connection to the 8th victim. So the sister of one of the victims forced him to look at her, recounting taunting phone calls he made to her when she was just 15 years old. When prompted by the judge, he quietly stated, "There is no words I can say. I'm responsible." When pressed by the judge if he was sorry, he said, "Yes, I am." The judge told him he's a disgusting, despicable small man and a coward before ordering the court officers to remove him from the galley. As part of his finalized plea deal, he is legally required to sit for an extensive interview with the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit to assist federal profilers in understanding his methods and tracking other serial killers. So he's got to basically help them. He managed to hide. So let's get a little background into the whole investigation. So he managed to hide behind a suburban double life at the Chesapeake Park for years. He was finally arrested in July 2023. A specialized task force broke the decades-old cold case by tracking a green Chevrolet Avalanche pickup truck registered to him. They subsequently linked him to the crime's sites through burner phone records and cellular data. Crucially, investigators matched DNA from highly degraded hair found on the victim's body to a piece of discarded pizza crust he threw out in Manhattan. Following his arrest, the investigators recovered an explicit digital footprint from his files detailing step-by-step checklists on how to execute the killings, clean the bodies, and evade law enforcement. Wow. Discarded pizza crust. That is what got them to him, or basically confirmed that he was the killer. Now, like I said, do you think that these life sentences is enough to make the family feel like that this is justice? Or should they have just gone with it and with all the evidence and avoided a plea deal and just tried to take him for a death penalty case? What are your thoughts on that situation, y'all? What are your thoughts? Absolutely crazy, y'all.